Hello, Dr. Mark Agresti. I had a patient come in yesterday, and he's a long-term drinker. He binge drinks. He's been doing it, I don't know, 30 years. He's 55. It's been 30 years later. So, anyway, he's coming into the office, and I'm talking to him, and he's stopped drinking now for about a month. That's the longest he's gone in 30 plus years. And so what comes up in the conversation is, well, you're not going to be able to return back to your old life. He goes, you're right. I've always been miserable at work, and I used to come home and just drink. He says to me, I hate what I do. He works as a salesman selling heavy equipment. And he says, my company doesn't support me. The clients are rude. Same old stuff. I mean, every job has its problems. And so I said to him, well, what are you going to do? Well, he says, I used to just drink. I said, well, why don't you talk to people and see if you can sit down, have a heart-to-heart conversation with people, and start making your life a little better. So the months go by, and he is talking with people, setting up limits, not yelling and screaming at people, not fighting every single day. He used to fight with people all day long. And he's worked on it. It wasn't easy. He's not dealing with the nicest people in the world. And granted, it wasn't his fault. There were people genuinely screwing him. But he got it to the point where it was manageable because he was dealing with it. He's like, don't scream at me. From now on, just email me. Just text me and tell me what's up. When there's a problem, just leave a message or text. I'll send someone out. And he put things into place and made changes in his work life to make it better. Either was thinking of quitting or making it better. So every day he worked on making improvements in how he did his business to make it less stressful. And it worked. So it took about 3-4 months and things settled down. He had to make some arrangements, hire some new people, train some people. He had to increase communication with people with emails, text messaging, phone messaging, and it finally worked out. So when he was drinking, he wouldn't work on his life. When he was drinking, he would just be miserable at work, come home and drink. That was his solution. It didn't work because things got worse and worse every day. And the more he drank, the more irritable he got, the more depressed he got. And the more he was like, oh me, I'm so miserable. I should be able to drink. And then when he was drinking, he would come home every day and he had a son that he never spoke to. His divorced from his wife, and he hadn't spoke to his son in years, and he said, well, he felt terrible about it, but I used to just drink every night. We're talking a half a bottle of Jack Daniels a night, and on weekends it was a whole bottle within an hour and a half. By the pool, with the little wireless speaker, the Yeti igloo with the ice, blah, 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 and he would sit there and get smashed. So instead of coming home and doing nothing, I said, pick up the phone. And he started picking up the phone. She wasn't really too talkative at first, but slowly but surely, at least they're talking now, and they're having, 5 to 10 minute conversations 3-4 times a week where they hadn't spoken in maybe 6 months. He was not involved in her daily life. Now he is. And lo and behold, she's coming to visit because he's involved with her daily life. And, he has a grandson, and so he wants to be part of the life with his son and his grandson. Now, he'd come home and drink every day, so there was no time for friends because all he would do is come home and drink every day. And I said, that's not working. So when he stopped drinking, started calling up some old friends. Wasn't too good at first, not at all. And I'm not saying everything was hunky-dory, but he did get some responses, So he is interacting with them, and he is getting involved in other areas of his life, which I'll get into in a minute. But he's reaching out to people instead of just running from his problems at work, running from his problems with his son, running from any interaction with people from his past, his friends. And then, when you stop drinking, well, now what? That was his life. Come home. That was what he looked forward to. That was his fun. That was his sport. That was his hobby. He would eat dinner with his wife and then just start drinking from the Jack Daniels bottle every night and get up, be irritable and angry the next day and fight at work and then come home and do it again. And on weekends, he just drank more. So he's either drunk or hungover. So now you get a lot of time when you stop drinking. So he started focusing on things he'd always done. He'd always been into blowing glass, and he'd always been into his church. And he wasn't even going for years on end. He always said he was into the church, but he never went. Started going. Lo and behold, started making friends, started doing activities, started attending things and doing things. And then what started happening, you're not so hungover, you want to do something. So he was interacting more with his wife. They were going to the beach, they were going on bike rides, they were going on walks. It was huge. He hadn't done anything in like 20 years. So going on a 2-mile walk, taking a walk on the beach, it would actually exhausted him. A 1-mile walk on the beach in the sun, he was wiped out. But, maybe we're 6 months into it. He's walking now 3 miles on the beach. He's walking literally 2 miles a day. It's incredible how good of shape he's gotten into compared to what he was. He looked bloated and overweight. Now he's looking fairly toned and trim just from walking on the beach, riding a bike, and walking every morning. It took him 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I think he's walking a mile every 16 minutes. So he walks for about a half an hour in the morning. Then what happened? Everything in his life changed. So he used to wake up, be miserable, hungover, go to Dunkin' Donuts, not care, buy like a 40-ounce coffee, and drink it down. And that's all he had in his stomach just to get him going. And then he wouldn't eat lunch, and then he'd come home and eat garbage for dinner. Well, when he stopped drinking, he didn't need to get that coffee in the morning. He sat with his wife and had a little breakfast that was healthy, did the walk. So his whole rituals changed. Started dressing nicer. Well, because the clothes started fitting, because he wasn't so overweight and bloated from drinking. This is the domino effect when you stop using alcohol and drugs. Well, all of a sudden, you look at the breakdown. Your work life, your family life, your social life, your exercise life, your nutritional life, your relationship with your significant other, everything changed. Because now your priorities changed and you were dealing with things where before you weren't. This is just a brief little video that just from a conversation I had with someone yesterday. So these are just some examples of what changes when you stop drinking alcohol. And it's very important. And this would apply to all drugs. Don't underestimate the impact that using a drug or alcohol has in all aspects of your life. Everything changes for the better when you stop. There are huge rewards: sense of well-being, sense of serenity, healthier family life, healthier social life, healthier work life, healthier married life, healthier physically, nutritionally, and a brighter outlook on life. There are huge rewards to stopping drugs and alcohol. I get into this in my book, Tales from the Couch, and I hope people buy it. It's on Amazon.com, Tales from the Couch. But also, if you look at my YouTube videos, one of my friend read a chapter from the book called Brandon Again, and it talks about addiction and how certain people can give up drugs and alcohol and switch to other addictions. That's a whole nother lecture, but it's really interesting. I would listen to that video. It's pretty good. Dawn read the whole chapter. Thank you. Bye.